This account was recovered from a shipment clerk's personal notebook, dated 1919. The warehouse appears in company records under 3 separate addresses. None remain active.
I was assigned to Warehouse 12 because no one else wanted it. That wasn't written anywhere. It was just how the assignment landed in my stack. Quiet and without explanation, like something everyone else had already decided not to touch. Warehouse 12 sat near the river, far enough from the main docks that you had to walk to it. Not far, but far enough that you noticed the distance every morning. It wasn't old exactly, just unfinished. Like it had been built with the expectation that it wouldn't last. On paper, it was overflow storage, temporary use. The kind of place you clear once the backlog moves and the numbers settle. Warehouse 12 had been listed as temporary for 3 years. Every morning I unlocked the side door before the dock crews arrived. The same key, the same resistance in the lock, the same low sound when it finally turned. I came in early because it was easier to think before the noise started. I walked the rows in the same order each day. Not for efficiency, but because consistency made mistakes easier to see. Crates along the east wall first, barrels stacked near the center, sealed pallets at the far end closest to the river-facing wall. I counted out loud under my breath as I went. Not because it helped the math, but because it slowed me down. It kept me from skipping ahead when I felt sure of myself. By mid-morning, everything usually looked correct. By the end of the day, it never did. The differences were small at first. 1 crate counted twice. 1 barrel that weighed less than it should have. A pallet marked outbound that hadn't moved. Nothing dramatic. Just enough to be wrong. At first, I assumed I was miscounting. Everyone miscounts sometimes, especially in a place like that, where the light stayed low even at noon and the smell of the river soaked into the walls. So I adjusted my routine. I counted slower. I double-checked seals. I weighed anything that felt light in my hands. I rewrote numbers I didn't trust and checked them again before lunch. The next morning, the numbers would be different. Not worse, just different. I started writing the date beside each count in the ledger, not to fix the problem, but to see if it repeated. Monday, off by 1 crate. Tuesday, weight discrepancy near the center row. Wednesday, pallet count correct, barrel count wrong. Thursday, everything aligned. Friday, nothing matched. The following week didn't improve. Some days the errors corrected themselves. Other days they shifted to a different row entirely. I learned which mistakes were temporary and which ones stayed long enough to bother me. Row D never stabilized. No matter what I did, the counts along that row shifted. Sometimes forward, sometimes back, never the same way twice. I stayed late one night to be sure. After hours, the warehouse sounded different. No carts, no voices, just the buildings settling and the river moving outside. I counted every item twice, touched each crate so I wouldn't lose my place, ran my fingers along the stenciled markings until I was sure I hadn't skipped anything. When I locked the door that night, the numbers matched exactly. I remember standing there longer than necessary, checking the ledger under the exterior light. Everything aligned, nothing felt loose. The next morning, it didn't. Same row, same problem. That was when I reported it again. The supervisor listened this time, but only because I'd brought notes. He flipped through them without comment, then handed them back. He said overflow was designed to absorb inconsistencies. He said paperwork always caught up eventually. He told me to stop treating a temporary warehouse like a permanent one. After that, I stopped reporting, but I didn't stop counting. A week later, a shipment appeared inside the warehouse before the dock was fully staffed. Already staged, already logged. No delivery crew attached to it. The paperwork was Marlowe Company stock. No origin listed, no destination filled in. Just Arthur Marlowe's name in the routing field. I'd heard the name before. Everyone had. He was the one assigned when routes got complicated, when places didn't behave the way they were supposed to. He arrived that afternoon without announcement. Didn't introduce himself. Didn't ask for a tour. He went straight to the ledger. He read it carefully, finger tracing the columns as if he was looking for something specific. Then he asked which rows hadn't cleared in the longest time. I told him row D. He walked it slowly. He didn't open anything, didn't inspect seals, didn't weigh crates. He stopped near the far wall, where the warehouse backed up to the river, and stood there longer than necessary. Then he turned back. "Leave this one," he said. "Schedule the rest." That was all. That night the river rose. Not enough to flood the warehouse, just enough that the lower wall darkened with moisture. The smell came first, before the water reached the line of brick. By morning, 3 crates in row D were gone. Not damaged, not broken open. Gone. No splintered boards, no drag marks, no signs of forced entry, just empty space where they'd been. I checked the ledger. The crates were still listed. Arthur was already gone. His paperwork had been approved. After that, the warehouse changed. Not in any way you could point to, just in how it behaved. The numbers stabilized. Manifests matched. Weights stayed consistent. Inventory cleared the way it was supposed to. I checked the counts anyway, twice a day, sometimes 3 times just to be sure. 2 weeks later, Warehouse 12 was closed. No announcement, no explanation. I was reassigned across town to a newer site. Cleaner, brighter, predictable. Sometimes when I check ledgers now, I pause before writing totals down. I expect them to drift. They don't, but I never take assignments near the river anymore.
Warehouse 12 does not appear in municipal property records after 1921. The riverbank has since been reinforced twice.